Joining us now is ICC Assistant to Counsel, Attorney Kristina Conti. Good morning, Attorney. Thanks for joining us again. So nice to see you.
Yes, good morning.
All right, so what do we expect from this decision from the ICC that's going to be on November 28th?
Well, on Friday, afternoon,
tomorrow.
evening, we're going to hear from the court explicitly, definitively, and hopefully finally about the interim release of Duterte.
Okay.
And there's two scenarios. Either they reject the appeal or they uphold the decision of the ICC pretrial chamber. So we just put it as in favor of Duterte or not in favor of Duterte. If in favor of Duterte, he could be released pending, and to be clear, this will have very little impact on the proceedings against him. Kumbaga sa atin, parang nakabail lang, pero tuloy pa rin yung hearings kung sakasakali. If it goes against him, then he stays in jail, status quo.
So ano yung possibilities? Kasi ang daming worried, no? Well, historically, attorney, I know hindi ka pwede maghula or give a forecast, but what does history tell us about cases like these?
Well, that I can share, no? That's jurisprudence, that's history of the court, and the court has not granted interim release to any person accused of these grave crimes at this stage of the proceedings. Kumbaga, hindi pa nagsisimula yung hearing mismo di ba? Yung trial nga. We're at pre-trial stage, and this person is being accused of crimes against humanity. The court has not granted interim release to someone of that accused of that nature of crime. In other cases, as has been noted, although yes, it is the right of the accused to be presumed innocent before being proven guilty, the other accused who have enjoyed interim release have been charged with Article 70 crimes. Ito yung sinasabing parang obstruction of justice sa atin. So Article 70 would be crimes against the administration of justice or offenses against the administration of justice. And at a later stage of the proceedings, when evidence has already been taken in by the court. At this point, it's as if as if the arrest would be invalidated. Kasi hindi pa nga nagsisimula yung trial
Right.
So you mentioned kasi when the evidence was presented sa iba at nakita medyo mahina, kaya sila nabigyan ng interim release. But in this case, yung kay President Duterte, is there a possibility moving forward? Let's say it goes to trial and then in the middle of trial, sabihin ng judge, pwede naman to pakawalan na hindi naman to risk
Well, yes. It's the fact that trial and some evidence has already been taken into note, not that evidence of guilt is strong. Medyo kakaiba sa atin Dito sa ICC, gusto lang nilang matuloy. So, kung nakita nila na sumusunod naman to sa processes, nagpapakita naman every hearing, walang pa excuse. Tapos, halos patapos na yung trial, baka naman pwede na, kunyari, i-forgo niyo yung personal appearance or online appearance, tapos hindi na mag-show up in court. Mas ganun yung nila. The thing is, you cannot not show up because there's no trial in absentia in the ICC. You have to be represented. So if they see that you have a steady counsel, steady legal representation through Kaufman or whoever it may be down the line, then they would say, sige, adequately represented naman. And we would be more amenable or more lenient to a request for interim release. Also, they would factor in humanitarian grounds. If Duterte says, medyo ang tagal ko na dito and I need to see a doctor in some other country, then maybe.
Yes, I'm trying, just to add to that, attorney, kasi I'm trying to understand kasi yung differences between the ICC and of course, yung courts natin here. It seems like that the defense team of the former president is trying to avoid the evidence to be opened up at all costs. Is this like akin to saying na medyong alam nilang malakas ang ebidensya, kaya at the early stage pa lang, gusto nila i-terminate tong kaso?
Well, I don't know what the defense is thinking, but at this point, it appears like that. that they've pulled out all the stops so that trial will not proceed. Separate to this interim release, there's a more important motion of they have an adjournment request. Hinihiling nila na matigil na itong lahat dahil hindi na kaya ni Duterte na humarap sa kaso. At ito yung may fitness to stand trial. For this issue, which is still before the pre-trial chamber, nasa parang trial court pa, the deadlines are thereabouts within this year. On December 5, the experts who will look into his medical records are due to submit their reports. On December 12, the last day of the court, the defense, the prosecution, and the victims are supposed to send in their comments. So likely walang movement yan or walang basis to proceed with it. So the decision will come next year pa.
So parang,
that is more consequential.
Yeah, oo. So parang kumbaga nga kasi attorney, I remember you telling this and we have to put this out there na wala pa nga tayo dun sa confirmation of charges, 'di ba? So kumbaga wala pa tayo dun sa part na yun. Pero I was wondering attorney, if the interim release is granted just in case if ever lang hindi naman siya makakauwi dito sa Pilipinas eh. That's part of the decision, right?
That could be part of the decision, although kasi redacted eh.
Yeah,
of course, it's part of the theoretical framework. But from what it appears, hindi Pilipinas yung second country that is parang being considered. The one of two countries has already been named. It's the Kingdom of the Netherlands kasi dadaanan siya kung sakaling lumabas siya ng bansa. Tinanong din kasi ng defense, pwede bang pakitanong nga sa Netherlands? So they have to do this through the court. Pakitanong nga din sa Netherlands kung pwede bang either dadaan or number two, pwede bang partial period nung interim release, dyan iserve, kumbaga, mga 2 to 3 weeks, ganyan. Tapos, pwede bang, tanong nyo na rin, baka pwedeng full. Kumbaga, just asking all the possibilities.
Pero dun po sa, dito po sa, prior dito sa magiging desisyon nila tomorrow, November 28, nagkaroon naman po, would you know, kung nagkaroon talaga ng, ang tawag, the independent medical practitioner who, saw former president. Kasi I think yung isa sa mga request 'di ba ng defense ni Duterte ng legal team niya.
So for the November 28th hearing, not much revolves around medical situation. Mas legal yung question dito. Kumbaga the court has basis for ordering the detention of a person. So 1, 2, 3, ito yung risk factors. Maybe then look at humanitarian grounds. I'm not sure that if they will be looking at medical reports. But for the other one, yung adjournment request na may deadline nga ng December 5, December 12,
Yung fit to stand
I'm
trial.
pretty sure that the 3 independent medical experts are approved na kasi nagkaroon ng issue dito eh. Taking ng test yung defense, sabi nila hindi ito dapat, etc. So, mukhang na-finalize naman yung list. And I'm pretty sure that these 3 experts, given that they have, at least 2 of them would have 2 months to look at the records, natapos naman nila to ng maluwalhati.
Attorney, baka you could also help us understand a little na kasi we've seen reports of the impending arrest of, Senator Bato de la Rosa. Ang tanong kasi ng marami na we're not familiar also, as I said kanina with ICC, how does his case affect the case of President Duterte and vice versa? Are they going to be tried under one court, under one case, or magkahiwalay sila? Kasi in some instances, baka pag mahina yung isa, maapektuhan yung isa.
Mukhang magkahiwalay na sila. Kumbaga hindi na aabot si Bato dun sa kaso mismo ni Duterte. And you could tell from the warrant. So if the warrant is issued against 1 or 2 persons, then probably one case will prosper against 2 persons.
So may sarili siyang kaso?
May sariling kaso. At sabi nga, according to, sabi natin, jurisprudence and history of the court, possibly more charges could be put into this warrant kasi ongoing yung investigation.
So it can...
And there could have been more information made available to the prosecution after Duterte's arrest.
So walang impact ang kaso nila on each other. So one can be guilty, the other one could be acquitted.
Yes, but I mean, there's some sort of relation. They could have common witnesses, they could have common evidence, pero most likely separate na yan.
Has there been instance in the past na yung ganitong similar pero the other one all of a sudden will turn against the other accused, yung principal accused?
Ang parang state witness, no?
Oo, kasi baka
The ICC
baka maisip ni
has no
Senator Bato
consent.
ituro niya lang si Pangulo former president.
Yes, he could do that, but it will only serve as his defense. Kumbaga, may kaso, sasabihin niya, oo, umaamin ako.
Ah, okay.
Hindi pwede para sa ICC, hindi, kumbaga, excuse yun na parang makakalaya ka na lang at kumbaga mai-immune ka, ganun kasi yung pagiging state witness, you will be immune from responsibility. The ICC looks at persons who are most responsible, and whether you admit your crimes or not, kumbaga medyo irrelevant yon, you will still be charged. If you want to admit, then during the hearings in your case, admit to so. And if you say, nautusan lang ako, that will be your defense.
Okay, so ang isa pa pong tinatanong natin dito is after tomorrow's decision, what would be the next steps for the prosecution?
For the prosecution, with one down of the 2 appeals, now they have to face, I think the appeal briefs for jurisdiction will be due. So yung next na issue sa appeals chamber, jurisdiction issue. May kapangyarihan ba yung ICC? Pag natapos yan, edi makahinga sila. In the meantime, sa pre-trial chamber, dun pa rin sa issue ng fitness to stand trial. Their comments on the reports of the experts are due on December 12. So yan yung mga titingnan nila. Pero sa totoo, they're trial ready. There's almost nothing else left for the prosecution to prepare for the confirmation of charges, kung sana matuloy na yun, except maybe for the script, for the actual words that they will read. Pero the outline is there. They have the draft charges, called the document containing the charges. They have a pre-trial, pre-confirmation brief, which contains, actually, this is more, kumbaga, juicy. Kasi dito namin nakita yung theory nila that there's a group of about 8 persons who are co-perpetrators of Duterte.
Okay,
So, they're ready.
All right.
And we're ready as well in the part of the witnesses.
Yeah. I remember you...
Dictates.
That's right. I remember, Attorney, nabanggit mo sa amin before na there are 3 factors na kinoconsider nga ng ICC chamber para nga dito kung mag-grant o hindi ng interim release. 1 would be to ensure his appearance at trial, 2 to prevent him from obstructing investigation or proceedings, and 3 to stop the potential commission of further crimes. And I was wondering kasi, since the daughter is still the Vice President of the Philippines and most of his family members are in power in Davao, yun ba ay isa rin sa tinitignan ng ICC pagdating dun sa konsiderasyon nila sa interim release?
Definitely. And the fact that he was former president and has ties to heads of state everywhere else is telling. Yun, hindi mo mabubura yun ng, ay, hindi ko sinabi yun.
Yeah.
These are facts. By their mere existence, is confirmable. Ikaw ba ang vice mayor and acting mayor ng Davao dun sa isang anak? Ikaw ba ay congressman? Yes. Kaya, the fact, because it leads to, hindi naman kumbaga, bakit naman nakakasama yun, but it leads to the possibility of him absconding because they are in positions of power and influence.
Attorney, pag umabot na tayo sa confirmation of charges, let's say natuloy na yan, what other stops can the defense pull out? Or is it tantamount to saying, basta na-confirm na yung charges, dire-diretso na sa trial?
Well, of course, motions to postpone.
So mahaba pa to?
Medyo mahaba pa. Yung usual, motion to postpone, may sakit, magpapalit ng abogado, and so forth. But substantially, after confirmation of charges hearing, halos wala na. Jurisdiction is settled. Klaro na may kapangyarihan yung ICC. Klaro na okay yung tao na itatry. Mga kuti-kuti na lang. Yung kumbaga, mga excuses na lang. But they would be minor.
Alright.
So, what I'm hearing is, the Office of the Prosecutor is not kumbaga, it's not looking at 10 years or 8 years even. It's looking at a shorter, much shorter period of time.
Right.
Given his age kasi. Oo.
Given his age and kasi recently, sabi nga sa amin, wag nyo naman kaming underestimate because the most recently, they did 3 years in one case.
Pwede.
Kumbaga, kaya na namin.
Kayang pabilisin.
They're trying to beat their own kumbaga record.
Well, I was wondering also, we've been talking about the former president, about this case, but how are the victims? Are they hopeful that decisions will be in their favor? Kamusta po sila?
For tomorrow, they're hopeful. But then just now, I'm getting these comments from the mothers that because we posted a watch party for tomorrow, it's an invitation, the victims can come in, media could be there. When this was posted on Facebook, maraming trolls na umatake at parang dinidimin yung mga victims. We're also seeing separately in a different echo chamber the narrative that Duterte is so weak and so forth. So this may be something orchestrated, and the victims now are not that they're not going to tomorrow's hearing, no? Pero parang iniisip nila na, do we have support? They're questioning that. Do we still have the interest of the people and the support of the majority as in the previous surveys disclosed? Diba? Parang sabi kasi, Filipino people are interested in hearing from the ICC. They want someone to be tried for the crimes. Pero ngayon, napag-iisip yung victims, may suporta pa ba? May interest pa ba? So hopefully tomorrow, we can gauge that better.
So, kumbaga, orchestrated sa tingin niyo po doon sa kabilang kampo para mapababa yung lakas ng loob ng mga victims regarding this case?
Yes, definitely. Kasi ang atake sa kanila is increasingly being personal, even to me. Na parang, nasan yung anak mo? Totoo bang pinatay yung anak mo?
Really?
Medyo foul yan para sa mga biktima. Because for victims, you do not diminish their victimhood.
That's right.
And the mere fact that their family member was killed, that's injury enough. You will have to feel something when someone dies in your family.
So these are the, kumbaga parang threats, no, for the victims online. But offline, meron po bang sinasabi sa inyo yung family of the victims at may lumalapit sa kanila to, not pursue this case anymore? May ganun po ba?
Yes, over the course of time, but not, I don't know recently. Over the course of time, yung mga kapitbahay, may isang nagsasabi nga, police, yung pala kapitbahay na police. Things like that. But for the actionable matters, we're closely studying if we can take this either to the ICC or to local courts, or maybe to administratively, parang maybe we can ask the police na this is improper or unethical.
When you say, Lasa, when you say you're ready for the trial, evidence, documents are there, the witnesses are there, are we going to be expecting mga high prominent witnesses that will also stand trial during the course of this case?
That would be for the prosecution to say. Pero I would say yes, they're ready. In fact, they've said during the confirmation hearing, there's 2 witnesses. At least, kaya lang sabi na, at most, sabi ng pre-trial chamber, sige, at least, 2, pwede kayong mag-upo. They have already said that they will have 2 hours for opening 30 minutes for opening statements, possibly so many hours for presentation of evidence with witness and so forth. So ready sila. On the part of the victims, we're also ready with separate, a separate theory and not exactly contradicting, pero a separate statement of the victimhood. Anong injury ang nangyari sa victims. During trial, things could change, but generally, I would say that the prosecution is ready. Kaya na nilang ipresenta, lalo na yung kwento, yung bare bones, nandun sa tinatawag na pre-confirmation brief. It's all there. What's the theory of the case?
We're all looking forward to this moving forward, but also taking this opportunity, attorney, the cancellation of Harry Roque's passport, I'd like to get your reaction on that. He claims na wala tong impact sa kanya because of his asylum request. Ano ang take mo dito, attorney?
Well, I'm not sure about that. So, Harry Roque has been vague with some of the facts regarding his asylum request. Kasi sabi niya dati, hindi pa daw rejected. He's applying with Netherlands. Now, he's saying, oh,
Austria.
pinasa na pala sa Austria,
Yeah.
ganon. So, the facts we don't really know. But one is that when you're an asylum seeker, you need to have residence before you can get the parang foreign residency card. So, right now, I'm thinking that the identity document that he has, given that he's only been, 6 months, 7
Yeah.
months in the Netherlands, the primary identity document he has would be his passport.
Yes. So pag
Hindi pa
cancel
siya
na, wala na.
iisuhan. Wala ka ng identity document. Asylum seekers do get a document. The Netherlands, in checking, the Netherlands issues parang W1, W2
Okay.
ID cards, but residence is necessary.
Oo.
So, it's a bit complicated in his case, pero we'll figure out. Kasi the thing is, if he stays in the Netherlands, even without an ID card, he can go around.
Oo, yeah.
But he cannot leave the Netherlands, kumbaga.
That's the problem. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an identity card.
Oo. Kasi yung pinag-uusapan dito, attorney, din yung refoulement eh. 'Di ba? So hindi din daw siya po pwedeng, may kaso siya dito tungkol sa Pogo case.
Yeah.
Canceled yung
Oo.
passport niya. Pero kung mahuli man siya, hindi daw siya po pwedeng maibalik dito because of that refoulement, because he's an asylum seeker.
So that concept is essentially political. Hindi niyo ako pwedeng pauwiin dahil I will be persecuted in my country. But that should not excuse, kumaga, legitimate prosecutions. So he has to prove that he's being
Yan nga eh.
persecuted because of the speech. So this, that's a French term, so non-refoulement.
Non-refoulement, oo.
And I learned this from his class. I was his student in public international law. Non-refoulement should not excuse or should not cover for crimes that you committed in your country. There are some, of course, exceptional excuses, but if it is shown that you're just simply trying to get away from prosecution, then it will not be recognized.
Yun ngayon kasi big question na how will you prove, 'di ba? Yung what constitute a political persecution. Well, maraming salamat po muli sa inyong oras. It's always nice to get your insights. ICC Assistant to Counsel, Attorney Kristina Conti.
Thank you, Ingat.